What is going on, guys? It is Broomstick here, back at you with another video. Couple topics for this one. Gonna go into the lost art of house parties and awkward Seggs encounters. So, house parties. This is something I just have seen a lot of younger Gen Z guys aren't getting a lot of participation in, and it really saddens me. It was one of the few lost art forms I was really grandfathered into as kind of like an elder zoomer. Um, I think what interests me is how ever since I have my video on post dating 2020, and it's interesting how it seems that house parties are just on the out and out. There's something about social isolation in that period of time where we're just kind of accustomed to be disgusted by mass gatherings or something like that. And house parties, if they are still an art form, they're a fraction of what they used to be. And the gatherings are probably a quarter of what they used to be. So it really saddens me seeing this. And I was just really one of the last people who um, me and some of my boys and my class really of guys, the class of X year, right, we're really some of the last guys who got a crack at this stuff. And I'm forever grateful for the guys I lived with in college and that they were willing to do this, throw down, have parties, have a little community, because it really enhanced my college life. And I think it was part of like the ascension process for myself. And just a lot of guys aren't getting these outlets nowadays. They're having to go to like community colleges, live with mom and dad while at college. Things are just more expensive now. There's even tuition is more expensive now. I could go into the family pill. I'm very fortunate for the family pill I was given in the sense that, albeit I do have boomed out parents, they did manage to acquire the boomer wealth. They didn't let that, period of time go to waste, for like the family line per se. They had assets in the right place, that kind of thing. Um, I'm also fortunate in the sense that, albeit they're somewhat ignorant to the generational gap in the economy, they are compassionate to the difference in tuition costs between the time. For example, my father, he paid for his 4-year college doing a summer job pretty much. Obviously I don't get that luxury, and I didn't have to go into any student debt because of the compassion my parents had for that tuition cost and them having a college fund ready. So it's understandable, you got a lot of guys living at community college, living at home, or they just don't, school is very serious and they're kind of like breaking bread just to make it there, living day by day, paycheck to paycheck at college. Financial insecurity, that's a very real feeling. And that kind of pressure, it limits guys and their capacity to live. And any guy who comes across as under some kind of limitation or just is kind of maybe bashful, kind of like doesn't have a, who is risk adverse or is high inhibition, right? They're gonna have a harder time being able to kind of facilitate spontaneous things such as like a romantic connection or whatever, or being able to, have a risk appetite to do something life changing or whatever it may be, right? Um, so house parties, it really blurs. What's amazing about house parties is it's this amazing blurring of the lines between your own private kind of abode and like a third place. It's like bringing the bar home. And when you have a very, very elite guest list, even even setting a protocol such as you can invite someone, but you're very selective of who you initially invite. So it's like, okay, I really know this person. Of course they wouldn't, invite some jackass to like ruin my party or whatever. And if you have some kind of structure like that where it works out, you can have an amazing time. And especially the kind of situation I had where you have like a group of roommates where um, each one of them's kind of involved in maybe a different club on campuses, or maybe a couple of you share the same club on campus. And then you can invite like a whole allotment of people from these different groups and have them kind of mingle. Um, it really like sets the tone for a very unique experience that you don't get in any other kind of phase in life other than those kind of like former adult years, right? And the thing that I find so fascinating about it is this era, people just kind of let it like come and go, and they're just kind of letting it die out. No one's kind of really speaking up for it. Um, and I think it's just one of the saddest things. Everyone's just kind of accepting this corporatized way of mingling, the dating apps, going to the bars, these kind of like artificial environments. I don't understand why house parties just on the out and out. The amount of positivity in the air at a real, genuinely good house party is phenomenal. I don't think you'll ever experience anything like it, honestly. You just weren't at the right house party, I guess. If you have something else to say, maybe you went to like a really good EDM concert, you were rolling or something like that. And hey, I could kind of understand that, but then you were artificially boosting your experience with drugs, obviously. So hey, that's what I'll say to that. And I think a lot of those EDM people are doing that, but um, I have nothing against you do it every once in a while, but off steam. I think that can maybe be neutral or beneficial to your life if you're very responsible about it. Digressing about rolling, uh, my first kiss was actually from a house party. I remember, and that's the thing about this, right? Is if you just kind of know the right people, somehow you networked in the right way, you can get invitations to these as well. It's not like you just have to, throw your own or whatever. And it's quite remarkable because I remember this experience where I didn't realize it at the time, but yeah, this chick basically walks up to me, starts dancing on me, my first time ever being danced on, and then starts like turns around after dancing on me for maybe like a minute or two, and it starts like snogging me, like eating my face basically. And yeah, never had a kiss. That was my first ever kiss, and I think why was this was the first time I was kind of learning to like first I kind of if you're like just a tall average or so face, you could get just these chicks if they're on Molly, MDMA, whatever it may be, they just want to feel people. It's a part of the experience. You could it's in the side effects. Um, but it was just so weird because I remember like for me it was like, oh, this is cool. And then so she has like two girlfriends come over, like it was time to go, start to pull her away. She didn't want to like leave, obviously. And then I kind of like had my phone out. I was like, hey, let me like get her number. And I was like talking to her like I guess sober friends. And they were like, no, 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 they always gotta shut some shit down, right? You know how that goes. Um, but yeah, I'm very much a proponent of I think you got to like take those experiences if you can get it. But like I was saying, the only reason that came to me was because right place, right time, right environment. I met the like height threshold for her, like kind of looking, scanning the crowd. I met the probably like the looks threshold. She probably but then also it was I think I also kind of figured out kind of this was like my sophomore year of college, so I was kind of starting to figure out the style and the way to kind of be like the man of the era, as CD would say, I guess. You uh, I don't know, like I don't know what's working now, but you just go, you have the thresholds on your side, and then you wear, like a jersey and a hoodie or something, or like the hoodie, you if it's like the winter, you have the hoodie on and then you throw the jersey over it, or if it's just like the fall or summer, you just throw the jersey on, and it's just really easy to kind of like I guess I don't know, pull off, but and then then it's just kind of like a matter of like getting the encounter rate, getting the rare drop table. But no, you got to take those experiences where you can get them. I think, like Western would say, you got to take the hookup, right? So that kind of like propelled me to kind of like be a little bit more confident in like dealing with women going forward. Just even if it wasn't the most like romantic like first kiss or whatever, it was like, hey man, like at least I got motion now, and I'm not gonna like fault that at that point. It's like, I'm a sophomore in college. I probably should have had this probably like 4 years ago at least, like at minimum. But getting motion, getting moving, that was really important. And house parties kind of created that environment. And don't get me wrong, I had a lot of other like romantic connections at house parties going forward. Like there was one time at one of my own house parties, like I had a girl in bed with me, and I didn't really, I was kind of trying to like, this was me kind of playing way too passive and defensive at the time, way too much on like high inhibition self-preservation mode. But my idea is like, oh, I can just like cuddle with her tonight. I'm gonna be satisfied with this. The next time I see her, then I'll be down and like ready to do the deed and all that. But then it's like like I didn't understand at the time that you can have, any kind of like physical close intimate connection, intimate night together, whatever it may be, but that stuff can break up at any time. And I talked about that in one of my first videos, so I didn't understand it at the time. So I think I blew a lot of opportunities like that, because it happened to me at least twice in college where a girl actually like cuddle up with me in my own bed, maybe like after a party or something like that. But you know it just it's almost like you got to kind of like, if this was like a basketball game, you got to see someone's like crossover move or hesitation move. You kind of almost got to be beaten by it first before you kind of know what to look for on the defensive. It's like, well, okay, I can't be beaten by that now. I've seen it too many times, that kind of thing. You can like plant your feet better and stuff like that. So it works out. Now, I guess we can segue this pretty handsomely into awkward Seggs encounters, the other topic of the video. Um, I really want to beckon the question here presented by a viewer of like, what are the innocence of some of these girls? I thought something he was commenting, this is from my Seggs STD P4P rant. I'm not gonna, I don't want to say too many acronyms. The YouTube AIs are doing some scanning on the voice to text analysis. But so shout out to Owen7775. He comments, or possibly she, uh BB action is possibly safe as long as you're in a relationship, even a short one, since there's no way these chicks are doing it as frequent as escorts are. My guess anyway. So I thought that was really interesting in his comment there. I really want to beckon this question is like, what are the innocents actually of some of these girls? So I'm gonna talk about a couple of my encounters where I was kind of like, wait, what is the innocence of this girl I'm actually dealing with? Like, kind of did perplex me, because I've been down the rabbit hole of like, oh yeah, they're all 304s, HBCs, all that. But I my my view is kind of more measured now. I kind of have a middle stance on that, where it's like they're definitely beyond me, but they might have not like seen everything, that kind of like, I don't have that assumption anymore that they just seen it all kind of thing. um so yeah, it just kind of really beckons that question. um there, for example, there was this one time, this is a girl I'd seen probably for like months at this point, and she we were just kind of like, honestly, I'm not saying like the sex was vanilla, but it was like, not, you just kind of having the basic, you doing the basic positions, not doing anything crazy outside of like a hand on the neck or something like that, but not never like choking anyone, just and this is you almost that's like these things are almost like quintessential these days, right? But you the thing I just kind of noticed was like I was like, we just kind of been doing it the same way for maybe like a few months, and I like the like I kind of like that it's not getting too kinky. Like I'm kind of into that in a weird way, where it's like, yeah, we don't gotta be too, we just we're good enough like as is. I almost feel like that's kind of like a flex, but I feel like I asked like this basic thing. Obviously, I seen this from some corn, right? But like I was just based so you know how I'm really into the BBJs and I was just asking I was like oh hey when you're given head you know basically okay so this is what I was asking imagine you got your toothbrush right and you're brushing your teeth just imagine pressing the head of your brush up against like the pocket of your cheek like your cheek pouch so I was basically just asking for that. I was like, you ever like mix it up, like do something like that, and like it was so weird because she couldn't like compute that that was like possible. Which I was just like, I just dropped it after a few minutes because I don't because at this point I'm like, okay, I'm seeming like the the corn husker out here, right? I'm seeming I'm seeming so I just get, you just drop it, you just give her kisses, cuddles, and then you just, good night, whatever. You try to just move on. But that was just so weird to me that like literally I feel like I was explaining it well. Uh, Whatever. Um, and then there was this other one. Okay, my first time seeing this girl, and the first night, basically, uh, before I even like pulled out the condoms, we are like getting to the bed. She like reaches over her nightstand, like opens up a drawer, and it's like a Costco pack, like 100. Um, and then and then the thing that I'm kind of mad about is she low key put me on because I use that brand now. That's like my favorite brand now, and and they were like ultra thins. So now I'm because my old go to. I don't want to say but my old go to is a very common brand. It's like the Trojan Gold Pack, with like the ribs on it, the ribbed ones. I feel like the ribs are almost like cheating. Like you take anything extra you can get, any kind of little extra little enhancement. But now my philosophy is different. I'm just like, dude, I'm just doing the ultra thins, man. I'm not. Um, but yeah, just the fact she had that Costco pack, like I'm traumatized to this day. And then the other thing about this like same girl was that same like night I asked her because we didn't do any doggy, and that's like I like that position. And I was like, hey, I don't remember what I asked exactly, but it was something along the lines of, do you like doggy or have you done doggy? Something like that, right? I was trying to like gauge her interest because I thought it was weird. She just kind of like starfished on me, and because yeah, I feel like that's the minimum you could do is give me like a little arch, just throw me a little bone because 80-90% of the effort, the cardio is gonna come from my end anyway. I don't know, like I feel like that's how these transactions have seemed to work. And then she was like, yeah, like she just gave me like a one word, yeah, like so I was like, doggy, and she's like, yeah. Um, and then later down, this is like months later, we have this kind of little spout over text or whatever, or something like happened. I don't remember what it was, but she kind of like played this card on me where she was like, hey, I'm a virgin, so you have to be, gentle with me or whatever. And we know how can that compute? Because the other things I mentioned in the story, um, you a Costco pack of condoms plus you had an answer to my question about doggy style. Plus, you're the same age as me, which is later 20s. So I did not take the answer at face value, but I still placated, and I placated for a couple months. Super, super like, okay, I'll go back to kind of cuck dancing, being, which wasn't too bad because if you still get, it buys you time getting laid regularly, right? But I kind of like got my point of view, my I forget what the origin of point of view. I don't remember like the RP term, but basically I got my like conscience back to like, okay, wait, this is my life. I take charge of my life. What's best for me? And then I was kind of able to get out that relationship because I saw how like crazy things were going with that one. Um, but yeah, guys, like, what are the innocence of these girls out here actually? Because I've seen so many like things that just kind of, so like, with girl A, the question was, okay, you're very capable at all this other action I like, BBJs and stuff, but I'm trying to explain to you, I feel like is it's a very elementary, crossover, right? I'm explaining you like a basic basketball maneuver, and you're like, oh, I don't. What is a cross? Why would I need to cross? Like I can just dribble this way, that way. I'm like, no, no, no. I need you to do this because then you can really throw off my defense, and then you can go to the bucket and finish. And it's like she just doesn't get it. And then with girl B, it was like, okay, the Costco pack of condoms. You're the same age as me, and you were responsive to my question about the doggy. So yeah, just make it make sense.